Alright, so about 3 videos ago, we went over the fate of the Invincible variant and what happened to Angstrom leaving. We saw Sinister Mark's death and Angstrom's somewhat redemption, which was short-lived because Mohawk Mark was ready to get that get back. But even with the supposed death of his biggest op, Mark still has Robot try to find a way to locate Angstrom's dimension or where he's at. He tells him not to worry because he's probably been killed by now thanks to his evil counterpart. And besides, focusing on him like this, obsessing over his next move, and trying to make him pay for what he's done is just a distraction. He's got a baby on the way. He should be more focused on that. And Mark agrees. For about 2 issues, because next time we see him, he's on the couch thinking about Angstrom. At this point, Eve is just done with it. He's in a whole nother dimension with the second most vile Invincible variant. The same guy who was trying to fake being hurt so he could slime out his own mother. He's probably dead.
Mom! I'm hurt! Aww. I need you! Mom! Ah, shit. I was really looking forward to killing her again.
Yeah, nobody falling for that dummy.
And besides, Eve changed that man's life for the better. One convo with a BBW was enough to change years of hatred. I think he's had enough. Mark does have a right to be worried though. Angstrom was his first real op. Remember, Mark beat this man to a pulp and he still survived and came back with 20 evil versions of himself. And that was after he almost killed his mom. So him being worried about Angstrom pulling a William Afton isn't far-fetched, but Eve asks him to forget about it, at least for her. She doesn't want him to go crazy, W wife, but Mark just can't let it go. You can tell this is serious cause he ain't even fighting for the covers. Bro heard the phone ring and hit a flash step. Bro never even moves this fast when he's fighting, but the call is from Robot. He's finished the device and he's found Angstrom. All he needs is Mark's word and they'll go. This is also where I realized that Robot has a phone brand with his own ugly logo on it. This should have been a sign for those narcissistic tendencies, but whatever. Mark heads over to the Guardian space station with Eve and Robot fills him in. He says something about shifting frequencies and interdimensional travel, yada yada yada. Long story short, he's ready to go. Mark was all thankful for Robot for helping him, and I still can't get over the fact that they call this man Rex. He will never be my glorious explosion king. He's either Rudy or Robot, nothing else. Besides, you're thinking him a little too soon, my boy. Eve once again tells Mark that this isn't necessary, and she would know. She practically had bro reformed after their 2-minute conversation. And Mark was like, no, Angstrom is evil, he can't be trusted. And Eve is making good points, like, 1, they don't even know what could happen there. He might never come back. And 2, he has a family waiting for him. And her woman's intuition is telling her that this is a bad idea. Which, by the way, it was. And this dumbass should have listened. But now bro wants to start hitting stare downs like he's at a UFC weigh-in and diss his pregnant wife for no reason, saying that she's never dealt with anything on the same scale as he has every single day. And he doubled down on this too. And this kills me because 1, did he forget how Eve bailed him out in that fight against Conquest?
Cecil! I need you, Cecil!
Donald, make that my ringtone and clip that shit.
And the fact that 99% of Eves and the other dimensions are dead because of him, I'd be for real, bro. But Mark is just yapping, bro. He's just talking, saying something about a sword hanging over their heads for the rest of their lives, when in reality, the only thing that's hanging right now is Angstrom. What the hell has gotten into you? Is it the hormones? Really, nigga? Man, are you sure the hormones aren't affecting you? Eve just slapped him and told them to have fun. But even that wasn't enough to stop Mark, so they just loaded the portal and went over. When they got in, Mark and Robot immediately noticed the fleet outside the Earth, which is a bad sign. They were about to make plans for their next move when they hear a menacing voice say, "Face me," and you would not believe it. Conquest pulls up on them. Nigga says accompany me back to the Citadel or I will kill both of you. Please resist. Bro was begging, no, pleading for them to try him. Bro wanted that fade badly. I was really wondering if we were about to get Invincible versus Conquest round 3. But then we see that they must have said something else because Conquest seemed pretty pleased to lead them to their leader. Must have promised bro a fade, which turns out to be Mohawk Mark. And damn, bro is living it up. Golden throne room, sitting on that lavish chair, and 4 Eves with Mohawks all around him. See, this is the type of timing I get down to if I was a Viltrumite. Forget peace, forget spreading the wealth of the Viltrum Empire. Where the hoes at? That boy Mark was confused as hell. And it's funny, cause this dimension's Mark ended up killing Eve, but then turned around and did this, but whatever. Mohawk tells him to relax. Besides, he owes him one from saving him from Angstrom's hell. Even though he told him he had it taken care of, he can understand why Mark didn't trust him. He and his other counterparts were quite the terrible bunch, weren't they? Mohawk Mark seems like a genuinely happy fellow too. Mark can't even tell if he's tweaked out or not, and bro seems to be pretty chill, or at least that's what I thought. Because then we see what he did to Angstrom, and I don't even think I can show this on YouTube because this was nasty. They fit every damn pipe tube or whatever they could find on that gargantuan ass cranium of his, and more. Mark talking about some, oh my god, niggas really be fake demons, bro. He couldn't even sleep when he knew that Angstrom was still out there, but now that he sees him practically dead, he's all upset. And this whole scenario is so dumb. Mohawk Mark says that he knows how to deal with his kind in this world. Nigga said it like a star, his kind. When Angstrom told him that he wanted no part in expanding his empire, he tortured him for cooperation. But since that obviously didn't work, his scientists are trying to cut his power out of him. How does that even work, bro? Angstrom is so stupid too, because all bro had to say was, yeah bro, I got you, and then dip into an alternate universe and never be seen again. Literally, that's it. But no, the same guy who was able to infuse his minds from multiple dimensions can't just... Okay, bro. And is that Paul? Mohawk Mark seems to be surprised, but then he starts talking about his experience with the other variants and how it was before they started eating each other. They talked about what turned them. A few of them were raised to take over by Nolan, while others had something else that turned them. Something that turned their eyes to who they really were. He says that hasn't happened to Mark yet, but I can think of multiple instances where he's had a chance to turn, but didn't. Mostly thanks to his mom. Shout out to Show Debbie. Mohawk Mark says that Invincible hasn't realized how different he is, how stupid he is to waste the time protecting people without getting anything in return, when they could be worshipping him. And this is where Robot makes his move. Besides the multitude of reasons that coming here was a bad idea, this takes the cake. Because Rudy hits him with that supersonic wave that immobilizes the both of them. Then he started sliming everyone out. The doctors, Mohawk Mark had a nasty death. Bro got blown up from the inside. I can't even show this on YouTube. And then Rudy's saying some, oh good, it worked. Lame ass. Mark is questioning him why he's doing this, but Rudy then slices off Angstrom's head. And after doing his regular villain yap monologue, he explains that he and Monster Girl were in the Flaxen dimension for a lot longer than they let on. And by a lot longer, they mean 700 years. And to put it in simple terms, Rudy has big plans that involved improving and taking over the world, but Mark just doesn't fit into them. He thought that he'd have to kill him, but leaving him here is a much better option. He finds it funny though, because when Mark was working with Dinosaurus, he was against it because he went against his plans. But in reality, they were on the same wavelength. But seeing Mark's potential made him realize that only one of them could rule. Which is hilarious, because Mark does not care about ruling anything. Just let him crack his hot BBW wife in peace, bro. But before leaving, he tells Mark that he'll only have a short amount of time to figure something out before people start to notice. So he better hurry. And he leaves Mark stranded in another dimension. Holy fuck.